Japanese. Is Japanese a race? No, honey, not exactly. Japan is a country. The Japanese are of the Mongoloid race. Girl, where are your shoes? Is Paganini Magissima retarded? Nena, I told you never to call anybody retarded. Well, Georgie is a Mongoloid and he is retarded. Nena, never call anybody retarded or a Mongoloid. Well, if that's what they are, girl, we are Negroes. That's all you need to know. Here's your coat. It's chilly outside. On the way out of Colorado, it got lighter and lighter. And I watched the mountains out the back window. The mountains are just like the world in fairy tales. There are flowers there, they don't grow anywhere else, and they don't live very long. Once, I saw a combine. It was so perfect. I was about to pick it, but Mama stopped me. Nena, honey, mountain flowers are real delicate. That little thing will be dead before we even get back to the car. I didn't even get upset. It just made me feel like the mountains are so magic that nothing that isn't there could be anywhere else. I love to watch the sunset over the mountains after dinner, but the best thing about the mountains is that even after Mama made me come inside because I couldn't see anymore anyway, I knew they were still there. Like a castle. And I felt safe. And now they were getting smaller and smaller and smaller. They were just gone. I looked at Daddy's face in the rearview mirror and I was really mad at him for being a Negro and not getting a promotion in the Denver office. His face looked really strange. He was staring straight ahead, like this, with his teeth clenched, like he was laughing at a joke inside his head. It didn't even matter that he didn't tell us what was so funny. When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressor, they could not stand. Let my people go. Go down, Moses. Been in such a hurry to leave. Second! Wait for the second ran upstairs to the empty house. You can't catch me. My dad's an actor and wow! I'm like this room. No, this is mine. No. This is my room. Our new house was a giant toy. There were French doors. Wow, a fireplace! Daddy, I want to make a fire. Come out of there, boy, it's June. Campfires in the mountains in June because it was chilly. No more cool summer nights in the Rockies. Kansas City was like being in steam. Sometimes I couldn't even think. That night, Mama fanned us kids to sleep. You hear the lambs a-crying, hear the lambs a-crying, hated it when Mama sang spirituals because spirituals are so old-fashioned and we are Methodists. Methodists don't sing spirituals. But when she sang to us in the dark that night, her breath was cooler than the air from the fan. By July, the kids were miserable. My Mama would let us play outside in the yard. I know these people. So we sat on the window seat in the family room watching the neighbor boys play baseball in the street. Our driveway was second base. One day, we saw a fly over the tree by the driveway. We knew it would land in the backyard. I guess Cedric couldn't stand it anymore. He streaked out of the house. She and I ran after him. Several of the neighbor boys came into our yard. I fast, and I hit two. I get a home run. Pow! And nobody could stop me. The boys looked at each other. What? Are you sure you're colored? You talk what? Nena, Sylvia, Sheila. Mama swirled into the yard like a hurricane. And I guess the boys knew what a hurricane was because they all ran away. Mama, they talk funny. Girl, if we live here long enough, you'll sound just like they do. Southern. No, I won't. Nena, coming to live below the Mason-Dixon line is like coming to another country. I wish I was in Dixie, away, away in Dixieland. I'll take my stand to live and die in Dixie, away, away, away down south in Dixie, away, away. Oh, way down south. Dixie! Dixie! I don't want to live in the South. Kansas City is a horrible place. Oh, children. I am sorry. This is so hard. Cedric, go play. Go. But be careful. Oh, girls. You know what? You can come with me to the Delta sorority meeting. The Deltas were ladies who looked dressed up for church. Smelled like church too. Way too much perfume. There was a big, big lady, real light skin like Mama. She was the boss of the sorority sisters. Sisters! Next thing on the agenda is whether to send the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. of Atlanta, Georgia, $25. Sisters, this helped the fight against segregation. Mama, what's segregation? Hush. Mama, who's Martin Luther King Jr.? I know who Martin Luther King Jr. is. No, you don't, Sheila. Mama, who is he? Mama didn't say anything. She didn't even look at me. Her lips disappeared inside her mouth. And she was so pale now, she was only half as dark as the big lady in the hat. Oh, sisters, let's vote. All in favor of sending $25 to the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. to help the fight against segregation. Raise your hands. Mama was the first person The big lady in the hat was the only other person who raised her hand. I looked at Mom. I felt stupid holding up my hand, voting against the whole room. Sisters, it's only $25. One by one, the other ladies looked at each other and raised their hand. Mom swirled down her seat. You all ought to be ashamed! Ashamed! Just 10 minutes ago, you voted unanimously to give the Catholics $200 for a cocktail party. Do you want our children to be second-class citizens like you are? Because that's what you are. Oh! I'm never coming back. Nena, Sheila. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A few nights later at the dinner table, Mama told us, there's going to be a meeting in the living room tonight, and I don't want to hear a peep out of you all after you go upstairs and get ready for bed. Okay, one by one, Cedric and Sheila and I wound up on the stairs peeking through the banister at the meeting. Carl ran down the stairs. He was the boss of the whole thing. He was the president of the Northwest District Citizens Association. Mr. Brockman was there. Cedric and Sheila and I didn't like Mr. Brockman because he hardly ever said anything. Once, Mama said he was kind of shady. Daddy said, baby, the man was one of my fraternity brothers. Some brother. I watched Mr. Brockman, trying to figure out why he was shady. Nena, Cedric, Sheila, you all get upstairs and get back to bed. Well, this is what it's about, brothers and sisters. Our children. Our children. My Lord spoke these words so sweet. Oh, shepherd, feed on my sheep. Saying, Peter, if you love me, feed on my sheep. Oh, shepherd, feed on my sheep. You hear the lambs are crying. Hear the lambs are crying. Hear the lambs are crying. Oh, shepherd, feed on my sheep. I couldn't believe that she would start singing in front of all of those people. It was really embarrassing. And then they all started singing with her. And I felt like I did when I used to watch The Mountain after dinner. Sing. Oh, shepherd, feed on my sheep. Standing in front of some white lady's desk, and my mother was holding a sign that said, No more Jim Crow. Daddy, the lady at that desk looks like she didn't want her picture taken. Then Nena, the lady at that desk, should register our kids at Jackson Elementary School. Mama, that's at school? You're not supposed to do stuff in the principal's office at school. You're gonna get into trouble. Nena. Girl, folks are going to protest against segregation as long as it takes. What's segregation? What's segregation? Oh, Lord help. Nena, segregation means that Negroes are excluded. Girl, all the children at your new school are Negroes. Well, is that bad? Is that bad? Oh, my child. Nothing is going to stop me from doing the right and only thing I have to do. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. After school started, Mama got into a really bad mood. Every night, she made proclamations the whole time we were eating dinner. Her food always got cold. She got kind of skinny. My kids in a segregated school. After what Mama would do to put me through college, and my kids are getting a second-class education. How can it be that my baby girl's teacher can't even speak English? Mama, I heard she was teacher taught once and she spoke English. Nena, IB is not English. These young people come from the South looking for a better way of life, and they think Kansas is a free state. They come here only to become victims of the double standard. Who's all qualified graduates of Kansas universities? I thought you said that my teacher, Miss Bass, is a good teacher. Well, honey, she is, but she's one of the few. My teacher, Miss Bass, said I was a sweet child. She said it in front of the other kids who teased me behind Miss Bass's back. I never went outside at recess. I stayed inside and helped Miss Bass straighten the room. But after 2 weeks, she made me go outside. Look, y'all, here comes the white girl. I'm not white. Girl, you talk white. Mm-hmm. You think you're white. Nena is a white girl. Nena is a white girl. I am not. I'm the same color as Louise. Look. Nena is a white girl. Nena is a white girl. Y'all stop it. It was Bobby Brown. He was the biggest, cutest, smartest boy in our class. He almost got better grades than me. His father was a Methodist minister. Bobby likes the white girl. Bobby likes the white girl. Stop. Stop calling her white. And what if I do like her? He took me by the hand and walked me back to the school building. Nobody called me a white girl after that. One day when it was raining outside, the other kids taught me how to do the pony in the cloakroom. My boyfriend's back and there's gonna be trouble. Hey-la-dee-la. They said I was a good dancer. Hey-la-dee-la. My boyfriend's back. After 4 long months, finally starting to feel like Kansas City wasn't such a horrible place. One morning, I came down in my pajamas. Fix myself some cereal and watch cartoons, just like I did every Saturday morning. There were people from the Northwest District Association all over the living room floor making signs, just like the one my mother had in the picture in the newspaper. End segregation now. Separate is not equal. No more Jim Crow. Nena, honey, you're going to have to stay out of the way. I thought you weren't going to do that anymore. What? Oh, you're afraid that I'll get my picture in the newspaper again, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Honey, why does that bother you so much? All the kids at school will see it. Nena, that's not a reason. Yes, it is. Well, what if you get into trouble? What will happen to us? Daddy will be at work. And we'll be just like orphans. Oh, Nena, we never leave you all to fend for yourselves. I'll be here all day with you. Daddy is going downtown to a demonstration. Well, it didn't bother me so much that it was my father who was going to protest instead of my mother, because he didn't make proclamations and make people mad like she did. Daddy piled all the signs into the back of the station wagon, disappeared that Saturday morning, and the next Saturday, and the next, and every Saturday until it was so hot that on the fan me and Sheila to sleep at night. One Saturday morning, Daddy had just walked out the front door to go downtown when Mama called me to the phone. It's a boy. He sounds very nice. A boy. Nobody called me on the phone before. Hey, it's me, Bobby Brown. I'm having a party in 2 weeks for all the 6th graders. Can you come? People say Negroes don't blush. It's not true. I turned so red that it feels like my whole head is on fire. I was really glad that Bobby Brown couldn't see me. Huh? Just look at the Battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Just look at the Battle of Jericho, and the rain came tumbling down. Wake up! My mother swooshed me into my clothes down to the car. New school's about to start. And I thought she was taking us to buy shoes. Instead, she took us to school. Not the Negro school, George Washington Carver, where I went to 5th grade, but the white school. Flew down the hallway and Cedric, Sheila, and I tried to keep up with her lilac scent. On the way, people stopped in the hallway to stare at us. Where do you think you're going? I'm going to register my children in this school. Where's the office? Nope. You can't register here. That's, janitor's uniform, isn't the office was taller than Dad. How are you all doing today? May I help you, ma'am? Yes, I'd like to register my children in this school. And, what's your address, ma'am? 2600 North 12th Street, Kansas City, Kansas. Okay, but let me check my math. It's right over here. Just take a minute. Okay. I'm sorry, ma'am, but you'll have to go to George Washington Carver. Ma'am, you know I live just 7 blocks from George Washington Carver, but I also live just 8 blocks from Jackson Elementary. Don't tell me my children can't come to the school. Well, you see, look at my map. Here's where you are, and here's where we are, and there's George Washington Carver. Okay. Ma'am, I want to get some registration forms for this school. Well, ma'am, I can't give you registration forms for this school. You'll have to go to the school board. Fine. You and the Kansas City, Kansas school board will be hearing from me. My mother swept us out of the office, down the stairs, and out the door. Laughter echoed in the hallway behind us. I got real mad. I was still mad a few days later when my mother turned up the TV right in the middle of Ozzie and Harriet. Well, honey, your daddy and I want to talk to you all. Go sit at the dinner table. Daddy served us ice cream, and then sat at the head of the table, clenching his teeth so hard that his jaw cracked. It hurt just to hear it. But he smiled that smile like he was laughing at a joke inside his head. Children, school starts in a few weeks. And your daddy and I, and the Jacksons, and the Marshalls, and the Wilds, and the Ingrams, and the Randolphs have decided that we just cannot send our children back to segregated schools. So, we're going to have school at home. Oh, Mama, the Smith kids didn't go to school. They got into trouble and got held back a grade. Nena. Girl, the education you've been getting at George Washington Carver is worse than no education at all. The Kansas City, Kansas school board wants you and your brother and sister to be inferior. And I promise you, they're going to get away with it. Not with my children, that's for sure. And not with anybody else's children if your mother and I can help it. Girl, the schools in this town are going to be integrated equally. If we have to keep you out of school until you're 18. Daddy! Anybody else going until I'm 18? I won't be able to go to college boys, girl, this doesn't have anything to do with any snot-nosed little boys. Daddy, Bobby Brown isn't a snot-nosed little boy. Bobby Brown? Reverend Brown's kid that tall? Yeah. He's a snot-nosed little kid, all right. Well, I was still mad. Now, I was mad at Daddy. That night, I dreamed I was 50 years old. Still sitting in the same desk I sat in Miss Sebastian's 5th grade class. I was so stupid, all the other kids laughed at me. And the teacher shook me. Honey, wake up! Wake up! We have to go to the Topeka this morning. Why are we going to Topeka? We have an appointment at 10 o'clock. Go wash your face, please, ma'am. Does this have to do with not going to George Washington Carver? Nina, did I tell you to get up and get ready? I think I did. Ain't gonna let no Jim Crow turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no Jim Crow turn me around. Gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. You know, Miss Shanks, I have argued before the Supreme Court, and my son Charles was on Thurgood Marshall's team in Brown versus Board of Education. Yes, you knew that. I didn't know what that meant. It sounded important. It turned out like this guy was so small that his pants legs hung up him like clap pants. He didn't even look strong enough to lift the chairs. Stood next to my mother's chair. Yes! Yes! It is serious, but don't worry. The Browns were scared too. Oh, yes they were. But that was 1954, Miss Shanks. 1962. The school board can't argue with the Supreme Court. The court found that the plaintiffs are, by reason of the segregation complained of, deprived of the equal protection of the law, guaranteed, Miss Shanks, under the 14th Amendment. Of course, there is that problem of de facto segregation. Yes, de facto. I strained to understand what he was saying. Sheila stared at Attorney Scott with their mouth open, like a little bird. Center looked around the room. I knew he was looking for something to play with. And then I heard the word, truancy. I knew truancy meant you got into trouble for not going to school. You're scared too, aren't you, Nena? Well, don't you worry, baby. That's my job. The Northwest District Citizens Association sent a press release to the Kansas City Star about his kids staying out of school, and I guess Bobby Brown's mother saw it. And the next day, he called me. My mother says your parents are troublemakers, and she doesn't want you to come to my party. I want you to come. I don't know why she says your parents are troublemakers. She complains about white people all the time. I was so embarrassed. I think I hung up without saying goodbye. Khrushchev was always mad at the United States. He wanted to bomb us. In Denver, we started having air raid drills all the time. It made me so nervous. And one night, I dreamed about the beginning of World War III. All the people in the world, everybody, was at this giant shopping center, going up and down on escalators. And Khrushchev and Eisenhower were in toy airplanes flying over the shopping center. When the noses of the airplanes touched, pow! World War III started and the world flew up. Well, that scared me for a long time. Until I thought the mountains would keep the bombs away. But in Kansas City, the mountains were gone. With my parents talking about struggling, fighting, and overcoming all the time, I felt like we were at war, and everybody was our enemy. Made me mad at Bobby Brown's mother, my father, the lady at Jackson Elementary School, Daddy's boss in Denver. I was mad at practically everybody. But I couldn't tell anybody what Bobby Brown said, or that I was mad at practically everybody. So I told my mother that I felt kind of sick and I didn't want to go to Bobby Brown's party. I don't believe my parents were really going to keep us out of school. Children, the first day of public school is also the first day of temporary school. I was standing in my dining room. Instead of starting school at Jackson Elementary or George Washington Carver, I was standing in my dining room looking at my mother, all dressed up like a real teacher, even wearing high heels, crossing her heart with her right hand. She stood next to the flag. I don't want to say the pledge. Nena, honey, this is a real school, and we will say the pledge just like everyone else. I pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag, girl. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. With blank and blank, blank. From now on, Miss Nena, you will say pledge the way you're supposed to. As long as I was in temporary school, I never did. From the moment temporary school started, I worried about falling behind their 6th graders. I was determined. I was going to be smarter than Bobby Brown. All the white kids at Jackson Elementary School in the afternoon, while the high schoolers were in class, I read every day. I tried to read more than I read the day before. Because the more I read, the less I worried about falling behind. And at least I was busy because Cedric had to be reminded hourly that we were in school and not on vacation. One day I saw him sneak outside with the dog, Humphrey. Frankie Boudreaux was outside playing in his front yard. Dobby, 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 Dobby. You're a dummy. You never go to school. Dobby, 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 Dobby. My dog is gonna bite you. My grandpa is a truant officer, and your mommy's going to jail. Uncle Tom, my daddy says your grandpa is an Uncle Tom. Well, your daddy's going to jail too. He is not. You better shut up. Jailbird Tommy, Jailbird Tommy. Humphrey was so excited, he was dancing on his hind legs. Dog spit was everywhere. Cedric let go of the leash. Get him, Humphrey, get it. tripped, fell on his face, screaming and coughing. Humphrey jumped on his back and licked his head. What's the matter with you, boy? Mama had appeared out of nowhere like a hurricane, like usual. She swept Cedric off his feet and into his room, and we didn't see him again until the next day at the dinner table. He sat at the table frowning like those big boys down the street that Mama calls juvenile delinquents. I wish you hadn't done that, boy. Cedric, Frankie says the doctor can hush. Frankie's mother says that she found teeth marks on Frankie's... What did I say? I said hush. Cedric, Boudreaux can make a lot of trouble for us. I'm afraid when Humphrey bit Frankie or not, Humphrey has to go. No. No. No, 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 no. I hate all time. I wish they were all dead. Honey, I said hush. Cedric, I'm taking Humphrey to the farm. A few hours later, my mother told me what it means to take a dog to the farm. No. We can't even have a dog like everybody else. Nena, honey, I don't want you to get upset, but you're a big girl now. You should know the truth. You remember Khrushchev? In 1962, the year of temporary school, he pointed nuclear missiles at the United States. Every afternoon at 2 o'clock, my mother turned on the TV so she and the teenagers could watch Kennedy and all these other people who were going to decide whether to blow up the world. Mama, if the mountains were in Kansas City on the side where the river is, they'd keep the missiles away. Oh, honey, no, they wouldn't. Nothing can stop a missile but a missile. That was the last straw. You know, the straw that broke the camel's back. It was not fair for anybody else to ruin my life. Not Kennedy, not Khrushchev, not my mother, not my father, not anybody. If my life was going to be ruined, I wanted to be a troublemaker like those Negro kids in the South. Mom said she feared to have anybody turn fire hoses on her kids. But what did you say, Nick? If all it took was a few people to decide to blow up the world! One of Mama's teenagers went downtown with Daddy and the other grown-ups every Saturday. Jeannie came to temporary school because her sister, who was younger, went to the integrated high school. Daddy said they didn't want too many Negroes going to school with the white kids, so they jerry-rigged. No. Gerrymandered, yeah. They gerrymandered a line through Downs' house, so one Negro went to the integrated high school, and the other Negro went to the segregated high school. Mama said it was a low-down, dirty shame because Jeannie and her sister slept in the same bed. Jeannie hardly ever talked unless my mother called on her. But she always looked at me, kind of funny, like this. But I wasn't afraid of Jeannie, because Mama said she was sweet-natured and sensitive, like me. I didn't want to be like Jeannie. She was so quiet, she looked like she wanted to cry all the time. So, one day I asked her what she did downtown with the grown-ups. Pass out leaflets. These pieces of paper that say colored people should jobs in the stores downtown, just like the white people. My mother says you're not supposed to say colored. You're supposed to say Negro. Well, we are colored. I'm going to pass out leaflets too. Your mom won't let you. Sometimes people are real mean. You try to hand them a leaflet, they throw it back at you. My daddy says I have to leaflet, but your mom won't let you. I'm not a baby. I'm almost as big as you are. You're one of the Shanks kids. Your mama won't let you. Of course, you know, that night at the dinner table, I told my parents that I wanted to leaflet like Jeannie. Jeannie's a big girl. You can't do what Jeannie does. How come sometimes I'm a big girl, but now I'm not? Nena, Jeannie's almost grown. She said they wouldn't let me because I'm one of the Shanks kids. She said it like it was something bad. Just like those kids at George Washington Carver called me a white girl. Parents looked at each other for a long time without saying anything. Yeah, you're a smart little so-and-so, aren't you? Okay, if I take you downtown with me next Saturday, you're not allowed to carry a picket sign. You'll be teamed up with Jeannie to pass out leaflets, and Nena, you'll do everything I say exactly like I tell you, or you'll never go downtown with me again. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's going to trouble the water. Passing out leaflets in front of Shiner's department store is not as exciting as I thought it would be. It was December, in Kansas City, Kansas, December. It's cold and really windy, and the sun is not hot enough to keep you from freezing. Hardly anybody took leaflets. It was really embarrassing. So I didn't look at people. I didn't know that I was handing out leaflets to white people or Negroes. 10 feet from the store, Nena. Stay 10 feet from the store. I looked down at the crack in the sidewalk that Daddy said was 10 feet from the store. I looked back towards the store. Saw a bald-headed white man in his shirt sleeve standing in the doorway watching us with this look on his face, just like this lady who spit on Cedric once when we were walking to school. I looked back at the crack in the sidewalk, and I was just thinking about how stupid city ordinances are, when all of a sudden somebody shoved me into the street. I jumped back onto the curb and saw the bald-headed white man in his shirt sleeve shoving Jeannie to Daddy! The man ran into the store, and Daddy threw down his picket sign and followed him. I followed Daddy. Saw him sitting on the floor in the middle of the lobby. Nigger! You better get out of here before I call the police! I'll call the police myself, man. Bald-headed man's head. Bright pink. And then red. And then purple. He ran over to a little table by the wall, picked it up. Just like a tree that's planted by the water, we shall not be moved. A tall, gray-haired man appeared. He looked just like the bald-headed man, except he had hair. What's the matter, George? I think we're having a sit-in. Yes, this is a sit-in. You people think we won't protect our children? Do you people think we'll let you disrupt our business? The girls were standing 10 feet from the store, and you just don't want to say, goddamn little pickaninnies. I bet they ain't both yours. We'll be here every week until you stop discriminating. We have a permit. Nigger! George. Now, mister, I can't have you sitting in the middle of my store. I want an apology. George. George. No, wait. I'm sorry. Now, I expected Daddy to say, I can't hear you. Just like he said to make me or my brother or sister apologize. Instead, he took me and Jeannie by the hand and walked us out of the store. Scared all the way home. I never wanted to leaflet again. And then, Daddy and I walked into the house. I saw my brother and sister sitting on the floor in the family room watching Popeye. They look so small. I felt like a teenager. For one thing, half the people in the courtroom were Negroes. There aren't any Negroes on Perry Mason. Judge in this courtroom didn't look like the judges on Perry Mason. His nose was covered with red blotches. Just what we need. A white racist drunk on the bench. Where, Scott? Attorney Elisha Scott shuffled into the courtroom just then. Daddy, how come we're not sitting up front like we do on Perry Mason? It's not our turn yet. The state of Kansas versus Hughes H and Lela K Shanks. That voice sounded familiar. Jumped up so I could see who was talking. There in front of the judge's bench stood a bald-headed white man who looked just like George from Shanks department store. Damn, it's George. What's George doing here? Come sit down. Who's George? That fool from Shiloh. But Nena, that's not the same man. He told Mama about George? I'm gonna never let me leaflet again, even if I wanted to. Attorney Scott pointed toward the front of the room, and Mom and Daddy went down the aisle to stand next to him. I couldn't understand anything anybody was saying, except truancy. So I was really surprised when Attorney Scott ran up the aisle towards the door. Hey, Mr. Scott! Where are you going, Mr. Scott? Is it over? Don't worry, baby. I'll be right back. Sheila started to cry. George grabbed Mama's arm and started to pull her up the aisle towards the door. Let go of me! Are you out of your mind? Cedric started to cry. Man, our attorney will be back in 5 minutes. I was afraid that Dad and George were going to start fighting, and I started to cry. You, officer, come and get them and take them to a holding cell. I don't have time to wait for them to post their bond. He was going to put Mama and Daddy in jail. It was the day before Christmas. If Mama and Daddy were in jail, we wouldn't have Christmas. Okay, I know it was the worst thought I ever had, but I couldn't help it. George was about to ruin Christmas. We are not leaving. Who's going to take care of my children? What about the First Amendment? The judge said, Mrs. Shanks, I think it's the Sixth Amendment you want right now. Well, here comes the little fellow back, just in time. Attorney Scott ran down the aisle waving some papers. Paying up that $25 fine for truancy. We will never pay it. Never put an end to our protest. And we never again will put our children in a second-rate segregated school. When we came out of the court, the man with a big camera said he was from the Kansas City Star. Could he have a picture for the newspaper? We were the newspaper that day and that night. We were on the 6 o'clock news on TV. I was really excited about everybody in Kansas City knowing I was a troublemaker. Until a few days later, when people started to call us on the telephone all the time saying things a lot worse than troublemaker, like, I'm gonna blow you up. Every morning after that, Daddy checked under the hood of the car before anybody got into it. Sheila had nightmares. Cedric slept under his bed. I just couldn't sleep at night. One morning, when Sheila started crying in her sleep, I said, Sheila, remember the mountains? Yeah. Think about the mountains. Well, I'm going to run for the school board. Mama, if you were on the school board, you'd be one of the bad people. Nena, honey, sometimes the only way to beat them is to join them. You're going to lose. Why are you going to do it if you're going to lose? Every Sunday, the mother's candidate, my mother, spoke at a different church or women's group. I knew all of Homer's speeches by heart.
The man of town wants us to become so satisfied that we now have shoes on our feet and coats on our backs, that we turn our backs to the needs of the little children around us and are contented to remain only half free and half slave.
I got sick of hearing it over and over again. Then came the primary election and my mother got 6,344 votes. education primary election. In fact, it was the least vote, but 6,344 people voted for my mother. I thought if she said those speeches enough times, maybe she would win. The Saturday before the primary election, the general election, was the second chance we got to leaflet at people's houses. Mama showed us how to fold the leaflets and stick them inside the screen door. And they were in the mailbox. Mama said it was illegal to stick a leaflet inside a mailbox. We've been leafleting all day, and I was really tired. I had a really bad stomach ache. It felt like somebody was punching me over and over and over again. My stomach hurt so bad that I just wanted Mama to come and tell us it was time to go home. I sat down on this porch, even though she told us not to do anything like that. This really old lady came out. She crumpled up the leaflet and threw it at me. I'm calling the police! What's the matter with you? Leave her alone. She's only a child. Nena, are you okay? Honey? I was looking at the blood. There was a lot of it. It ran down the stairs. Oh, Lord help. You clean that up! You hear me? You clean that up! I'm calling the police! Shut up! Just shut up! I never heard my mother tell anybody to shut up before. The old lady turned her fire hose on me. Fat as I was, mother picked me up and carried me all the way to the car. Mama, are you scared? Yes, honey. I am scared. Mama, don't be scared. Attorney Scott said the Browns were scared too, and look what happened. Yes. Look. Lord, I want to cross over into campground. Tomorrow, you all are going to St. Anthony's Catholic School to be tested so you can pass to the next grade. Do we have to go to Catholic school because they'll flunk us at George Washington Carver? Oh, Nena. Honey, that's the least of what they want to do to you all. The next day, all three of us, even Cedric, tested above our grade levels. I felt like I surrendered! Until a few weeks later, when Cedric and Sheila and I started at St. Anthony's Catholic School, and the priest, Father Francis, always looked at us like he was mad. I didn't care. I was used to being mad at everybody and everybody being mad at me. The night school started, something really terrible happened. Mama came home, paler than a hurricane. She didn't say a word till Daddy walked through the front door, smiling. Wipe that smile off your face. That priest, Father And he told me, this is what I'll do to you if you don't keep your kids out of the newspaper. Even the church wants to kill us. Living like this? Why doesn't I thought there was no breathing? Daddy was talking to somebody on the upstairs phone. Mama was listening downstairs. All of a sudden, Daddy said, shit! Slammed down the receiver and went into his room and locked the door. That's Virgil Brockman. His Uncle Tommy's been coming to our meetings, pretending to be one of us, and then running downtown to tell them everything he's heard. He was in your daddy maternity. Your daddy got him his first job. There were a lot of people like Mr. Brock. The lady who would turn your hose on you, George, all the anonymous callers who wanted to blow us out. The people downtown that Mr. Brockman was spying for. And my father, Francis. Nena, you do not need an Attila. I knew if I'm going to be like the other kids. You said that we had to take catechism and we had to go to mass so we'd be just like the other kids. But we're not supposed to believe it because we're Methodists. How can we be like the other kids if we're Methodists? Everybody's a little different. We're a lot different. Sister Ruth Ann calls the roll every Monday morning to find out who went to mass on Sunday. And she always skips my name. Why do I always have to be so different? I became a Catholic in secret. One day, after I had just finished the rosary, I walked out of the bathroom, which I locked while I was saying the rosary. And I heard somebody knocking on the front door. Well, ever since my parents found out Mr. Brockman was spying at us, they didn't want his kids to answer the door. But whoever it was stuck there for a long time, so I thought maybe Mama was in the basement and couldn't hear. I went downstairs to tell her somebody was knocking, and the kitchen door was closed. That meant she was mopping. She got really mad if you came into the kitchen while she was mopping. So I answered the door. There stood the biggest white man you ever saw in your life. Right behind him were two men who were as big as he was. Your Mama Lela Shanks? Is she home? You want to go get her? Who shall I say is calling? Just go get her, little girl. Now, you know what I'm doing in here, and you know you can't come in here until I tell you you can. It was the only time I ever saw my mother blush. I think it was because she was barefoot and she was wearing a really raggedy dress. The man in front opened the screen door and stepped inside. Mrs. Shanks, Michael O'Shea, Federal Bureau of Investigation, may we speak to you? Is it going to take all three of you to talk to me? Yes, ma'am. Nena, go find Cedric and Sheila and take them upstairs to the playroom. We'd really like to talk to you now, ma'am. You just hold on a second, Mr. O'Shea. Girl, what do you mean? I want to stay with you. And I want you to go upstairs. Nena, why don't you just do what Mom says? Mama was only half as tall as Michael O'Shea, but she looked at him like she wanted to smack him just like I said something, and that was why I wanted to stay with her. But I went through the kitchen and found Cedric and Sheila playing in the family room. Have you ever been contacted by a member of the Communist Party, Mrs. Shanks? No! Before Daddy found out Mr. Brockman was spying on us, whenever anything bad happened, he just smiled. So nobody would know what he was thinking. That night, at the dinner table, he was frozen. Sylvia! Against my baby! What the hell kind of country are we living in? Oh, Shanks, you know what the hell kind of country this is. Honey, living here will kill us if nobody else does. Well, at 10 o'clock, the night of my 8th grade graduation, we drove out of Kansas, just as Daddy said, "Oh, this is the Kansas-Nebraska border." Pow! We couldn't see out the front window. Father, and Son, and Holy Ghost, amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Hang on, hang on. Let me see what's going on here. The hood came loose. I thought we were dead. Well, it's August again. And in a few weeks, Cedric and I will be the only Negro kids at our new junior high school. There are 35 Negro kids at Sheila's elementary school, and I don't know how there could be that many, because Mama said there were only 2 Negroes in Nebraska before we got here. I guess that means that there's nothing to protest against in Nebraska. Well, honey, not segregation anyway. We had enough of that mess. I don't think it was a mess, because none of those kids at George Washington Carver can call me a white girl anymore.